Hey, what's up guys? This is Jacob back with another video. Today I really want to go over some things that I found to be pretty interesting. Well, interesting when it comes to E3. So the Electronic Entertainment Expo is happening right now, and some really cool stuff happened. Some really cool games were announced. Some stuff we weren't really thinking of, some of the stuff that we kind of knew was happening. It's all really exciting though. I am super pumped for the fall, for everything to come out. The first thing that I want to talk about is something that was kind of stealthily released this week, and that is Trials of the Blood Dragon. Now, Trials of the Blood Dragon is a game from Ubisoft in the vein of their Trials game, so familiar with that. Trials is a kind of motorcycle, kind of puzzler game, whatever. It's really difficult. Trials is just super fun, but it's immensely hard. And this game that came out recently is called Trials of the Blood Dragon, and if you recognize the Blood Dragon name, Blood Dragon actually was a spin-off of Far Cry 3 entitled, what do you know, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. So this takes both those kind of properties, the Blood Dragon property and the Trials property, and kind of pushes them together into one thing. And I'm going to say it's pretty interesting. I don't know if it's an amazing game. I don't even know if it's a good game. They do some weird stuff with the Trials formula. They take you off the bike and put you with a twin stick kind of like platforming shooter, and it's just not great. When you're on the bike, just phenomenal. When you're off the bike, I'm not sure how I'm feeling about it, but the aesthetic is really cool. The music is really good. It has a Hotline Miami kind of vibe to it as well, which is different, but it's actually pretty fun. I am enjoying it. But when they take you off the bike, it's not fun. I don't like it when I'm off the bike. So we'll see how it goes. What I'm going to be doing though is next week I'm going to drop a review for that and kind of tell you a little bit more in depth of how I'm feeling about it, and show you some footage from the game. But right now, I really feel like it could have been done a little bit better, and maybe they stealthily released it so people would buy it before they saw reviews. It's a little bit cynical, but I think that may be kind of what happened here. So we'll see. Another thing that I found to be pretty interesting is during the Sony press conference, Hideo Kojima came out with much fanfare and announced his next game, Death Stranding. Now, Death Stranding, we have no idea what kind of game it is. It looks like it might be kind of a sci-fi, maybe horror kind of thing. It's really hard to tell based on the vagueness of the trailer. That's my dog. He's probably going to bark a little bit more. Anyway, now Death Stranding is really weird. It's a kind of a crazy looking thing. It's very Kojima-esque in that we have no idea what it is, and we probably are not likely to see this game for a few years. His last couple games was Metal Gear Solid 4, and they came out in 2008, I believe, and then you had 7 years later till you got Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. So with Phantom Pain only coming out, less than a year ago now, don't expect to see Death Stranding anytime soon. The interesting thing is, it looks like he's pairing up with Norman Reedus again. Now, Norman Reedus was involved in the PT stuff before Konami shut that down, so it is interesting to see Kojima moving back in, actually coming back to work with Norman Reedus. It doesn't like Del Toro. Guillermo del Toro is involved in this at this moment, though that could change. Seeing as how this game is probably minimum 3 years away, so we'll see. But you should check out the trailer. It's freaking crazy. Another interesting thing that I really found to be unexpected was the announcement of Resident Evil 7 or Resident Evil Biohazard. It doesn't look like any Resident Evil game that's come out in the past couple years. It looks more like PT, actually, kind of to segue from what I was just talking about. It looks like PT. It looks like it's getting back to the horror roots that we really know Resident Evil for. It looks interesting. It's completely playable in PlayStation VR, and that's just bizarre to me. I never thought that would happen, but I really can't tell if this game's going to be any good. It's hard to see. I mean, apparently the kitchen demo that came out a couple or maybe a year ago now was actually this game. apparently it's going to be terrifying. It's completely playable in VR, but it's also completely playable without the VR. I don't know if I would be able to play it all the way through in VR. It looks insane. It's probably going to be too scary to play fully in VR, and I don't know how many people are going to be able to do that, because it just looks like it's going to be scary. But if you've seen PT and you've seen the kitchen demo, this is what you're looking at here. I'd recommend you check out the demo online, or if you really want to, you don't have a PSVR yet because it's not out, but you jump into, get on the PlayStation Store, you can actually download the demo and play through it just on your TV, which should be pretty neat, and that's due out in February. But like I said, it's completely playable in PlayStation VR, and this is really the first game that we've seen that's completely just like a playable game, and not just like kind of a tech demo or something like that. It's a fully playable game from start to finish in VR. So it's interesting that we're starting to see some actual games announced with the PlayStation VR in mind that are full games. There were a few more that looked pretty cool. Farpoint looks really interesting. It actually has a peripheral with it called the PlayStation VR Aim. It's a light gun game. It could be really cool. It could not be cool. I don't really know, but it looks interesting. That's all I can say. The next thing that I kind of want to talk about is the thing that surprised me the most, and I was like, whoa, that looks super cool, and I wasn't expecting that, was the demo for Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Now, when Sony, when this was in Sony's press conference, it came right after the VR stuff, but there was really no kind of break saying this isn't VR anymore. So I thought it was VR for a while. But man, I have to say that Call of Duty looks cool, and it took me almost the entire demo to figure out what it was. About 3/4 of the way through, I was like, wait a second, is this Call of Duty? What? It looks really cool. I haven't cared about a Call of Duty in a long time. I've had Black Ops 3 since it came out. It came with my Xbox One that I purchased this holiday, and it's still, I've not touched it. I think I popped it in for like 2 seconds to make sure my Xbox Live was working because it was acting weird when it first came out, but it looks really cool. Infinite Warfare looks really cool. I'm actually very interested in playing it now. I didn't think I was going to be, but man, it is interesting looking. And I suggest that you check out and you look at that trailer, look at that demo. It looks awesome. One of the things that I think was pretty interesting for most people, but I wasn't very wowed by it, was the demo for Dead Don't Ride, aka Days Gone. Now, this is a game that it's developed by Sony Bend Studios and is going to be released sometime next year or the year after that. They didn't give a release date, and it looks like The Last of Us meets 28 Days Later meets Sons of Anarchy. And they played a full demo of it, and I just couldn't really get into it. And I don't know what about it, but it just didn't look very interesting to me. I'm thinking maybe the zombie games are becoming a little bit played out at this point. And it really looks like it's inspired by The Last of Us, which means it could be pretty cool. But I don't know, it didn't look that exciting to me, and it looks like it's probably still pretty early. I believe that Kinda Funny did an interview with the studio, and they said that you shouldn't expect it next year, so this is maybe a 2018 game. So it may have a pretty long way to go, which is heartening because there was nothing really wrong with it, but it just didn't look like it was going to stand out that much in the crowd. It just kind of like another zombie game. So, and we've had a lot of those, and it's hard to beat The Last of Us, I think. And it really looks like this game is inspired by The Last of Us. So we'll see there. The last thing at the Sony conference that I really want to talk about, that I found really cool, was the God of War demo. God of War looks like it's being rebooted. It's hard to tell exactly what's happening there, but it definitely is a Norse God of War. You've got a new voice actor for Kratos, and he has a son, and apparently had a wife. And if any of you are familiar with the lore from God of War, Kratos ends up with the white skin because he, in a drunken stupor, murders his family, so his daughter and his wife. So it's still Kratos, but he's got like a burly beard, so it's hard to tell if this is the same Kratos. I don't think it is. I think maybe we were just rebooting, and it's just like maybe kind of like the whole Zelda thing, like it's happening again, like the story's happening again, this character is still alive in another timeline, or something like this, or this is just an alternate story with him in it, or I don't know, but it looked really cool. It looked different and a little bit slower paced than some of the older God of Wars. It seemed to be a little bit maybe RPG-ish, based on the way the trailer looked. I'm not entirely sure though, but it looked cool. I'm very excited about playing God of War. But we'll see if it just turn into the same thing that it's been for years. There was also a really cool trailer for Horizon Zero Dawn. That game looks to be like really cool. I am excited to play that. Robot dinosaurs in like a prehistoric future. I don't know. It looks crazy. That's all I'm going to say about that, because there's been a lot of coverage of that over the past few weeks. But I'm excited for February 28th to actually jump in and play that. I don't know how many people still care about it, but we finally got a release date for The Last Guardian, the next game from Team Japan / Team Eco, or Studio Japan / Team Eco. It looks interesting. I'm excited to play it just to see what it is. I don't know if I really have very high expectations for it, but I'm excited to see what this game actually is after all this time. It looks interesting. And we got a release date in October for that. I can't remember the exact date, but we're looking at October this year. I guess something that I also thought was pretty cool that got announced was a new Spider-Man game, an exclusive PS4 Spider-Man game by Insomniac. I know there had been a lot of speculation that Sucker Punch was going to be working on a Spider-Man game, but it actually turns out that it's Insomniac. And they are the Sunset Overdrive, Ratchet and Clank, Resistance guys, so it's interesting to see them making a licensed game. Cool. I'm excited to see what Insomniac does with the franchise now that Activision doesn't have a hold of it and they can't make, just some crappy tie-ins. I guess this could be considered Sony video mainly. So I guess I can stop it there, really. That's some of the most interesting things that I found, that I saw with Sony's most recent showing. I thought they had a lot of interesting things. That live orchestra was really neat. The intro to it was a little weird because I was like, what is going on? Why does this orchestra just keep playing? Because they played for probably 5 minutes to start the show. So that was interesting. But I'm excited to continue making videos. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. A little bit of sneak peek, or I guess not sneak peek, a little bit of news from Sony's conference the other day. So anyway, I will see you guys in the next video.